Okay, I can see it's 1 o'clock, so I'll just start this off. For anyone that is new to Zoom, which probably no one here is not new to Zoom, but in case you are, if you want to speak up, it's real easy. There's a microphone icon on the bottom left. You can just click that on or off to speak. I've also found that if you press on your keyboard, the space key on your keyboard, you can also enable speaking temporarily. Of course, there's a video button also on the bottom left of your screen, and you can use that to show your smiling face. Somehow having your actual face on the screen facilitates conversation that we found, so if you feel like it, please do. We have a chat box also for those who maybe don't want to interact in that way, but we will be recording the chat box and this roundtable as we go along. Again, it's the Community Center Roundtable, and so let's get started. Also in the chat box, you can put in any questions you have or answers to general questions as we go along. There's no need to enter your email addresses, as when you registered for the program in Zoom, we caught your email address in that. So, and at the end of this, in a day or so, we'll send along the chat box results and a copy of the video to everyone. All right, my name is Dan Hendy. I'm here with Pennsylvania Rec and Park Society. This is probably our 6th or 7th community center roundtable discussion, and Nikki is here with me to help out, and BK is also here, or at least he's on screen with us to help out also. I did prepare a little something to sort of start the discussion with, and I'm going to switch to my screen. The first thing I wanted to share with you is a little humor I found on the web. I just got kicked out of the Flat Earth Facebook group because I asked if the 6-foot social distancing guideline had pushed anyone over the edge yet. I thought that was a pretty cute little thing. Anyway, some of the questions that we wanted to talk about today, or some of the ideas for topics, is again, what's going well, what is not, how many of you are even open and at what capacity, and have you had to change your policy on use or rentals, and what kind of precautions you may be taking that you've put in place, what's working, do you have any good ideas to share with the rest of us, and any lessons learned, you know, and how did you address complaints? And of course, we always want to look towards the future and talk more about them. So if I can just open it up with that general question, what's going well and what is not?
Hi, everyone. I guess I'll go first. My name's Lauren Irizarry. I'm from Conshohocken Borough. We are currently closed and only open for our summer camp program. We actually just extended the summer camp program 2 weeks. So it was an 8-week program at first. I did have a third-party company that was supposed to run 2 more weeks of a sports camp, and he was going to you know, modify it to be more of an actual just day camp. But last minute he backed out, and I understand during these times. So I in-house extended our summer camp program. So we'll remain closed until August 31st at least. I submitted a reopening plan to our emergency management team, which will now have to be revised. I'm working on that today. Since when I first submitted it, it was when we were at a 50% capacity. Now we're at a 25% capacity indoors. So I'm going to revise it, and we will be operating on a limited, with a limited, I would say, schedule. I'm not sure if we'll allow rentals yet. That'll be a discussion with our emergency management team. We would be open for our fitness center, possibly our gymnasium with no more than 20 in there at a time. And then a program indoors that I'm working on is a virtual, I spoke about this the other day at the program roundtable, but I'm working on a virtual learning program, and that'll be indoors. I'm trying to move a lot of my programming outdoors where it's feasible. Derek, while I'm speaking, I know that you guys are working on week by week programs.
Yeah, so we're still kind of seeing what the regulations are gonna be moving forward. It might, now I said weekly on whatever day it was, Tuesday. It might be more of like a 3 week at a time situation. But just real small things for maybe 10 kids, honestly.
Okay.
Just get something in here. We're looking to do indoor when possible. But, you know, I know Governor Wolf just said, whatever, no sports in 2020. So I don't know if that's going to include skills and drills or anything like that, too.
Okay. Yeah, we are looking at a reopening date of after Labor Day, like I said, on that limited capacity.
Yeah, and we're looking at the same for programs here. By the way, I'm Derek from Montgomery Township. So right now we do have our fitness center open. We don't have our fitness classes back yet, no pickleball back yet. We are doing we have 12 nets in the gym. We're doing one person per net right now, just shooting on it. Basically nothing competitive.
This is Tyler from Upper St. Clair here in Western Pennsylvania, South Hills. So our facility, it's 90,000 square feet. So we have 2 pools. We have a full fitness center upstairs. We have 3 community rooms where we do rentals. That's essentially like, you know, our facility in a nutshell. And we have an outdoor pool as well. We reopened on June 24th. We have a capacity outside of 250 at our outdoor pool. We are monitoring technically 25 people in each zone of our facility. So our upstairs fitness area can allow 25 at a time. Our pools are by reservation only, so you have to book time to swim laps. We're offering some lifeguard trainings and classes that are keeping our other leisure pool. They're separately permitted, so they're each able to have 25. We have not reopened our gym, but we are running about 10 to 15 fitness classes a week in person outside throughout our parks. And 7 to 10 of those are also offered virtually in a hybrid model. We did run summer camp outdoors. We had about 100 kids this summer spread out. And in the fall, we're looking at, you know, kind of doing some of those things as well. But we've been reopened since June 24th.
Anybody, could I get some other folks to report on the state of their centers right now?
Just me again. We're also on a modified schedule right now. Typically would be open on weekdays, 5:30 in the morning till 9 at night. We're open right now, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on weekdays. And we're looking to go 5:30 to 7:30 starting in 2 weeks and kind of keep going from there. So that's definitely different and something people have addressed a little bit. And obviously our loyal pickleball crowd is not thrilled about no pickleball.
Yeah. Brian from Upper Marion says they're looking to have a soft reopening after Labor Day for pass holders to use the fitness center and indoor track, hoping to open more 2 weeks later for actual programs. So anyone else on their center, what they're doing?
This is Nancy from Northampton.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a full community center like Plymouth or Montgomery County. We have what we call a recreation center. It's not a membership driven. It's really just program driven. Right now it's being used as our summer camp facility. However, we are running programs in the senior center with minimal participation. I think we have anywhere from like 5 in a class to, I think one of the exercise programs has 12. The room capacity, I think is like 36. So, you know, have plenty of room to space. Moving forward, we're looking to open our facility back to regular programming on September 14th, again, with protocols in place. We don't know what to do with our, you know, the adult sports programs. You know, we have adult volleyball, we have basketball, we have hockey, then we have the children's programs as well. We're not being able to be in any school facilities, so that's really putting the pressure on us to use the recreation facility. And I just had discussion this morning with one of my managers saying, well, maybe we just leave it up to the adults. You know, we offer the program and put our protocols in place, and it's really up to them whether they're going to want to come in and participate. We're still going to run our 6-week sessions, hold our breath so we don't have to go through the refund process like we did earlier. But putting something else in place, maybe saying like there are no refunds, you know, you'll get a credit for future programming. That's the kind of stuff I think I'm looking for from this roundtable. How are you dealing with the protocols, and how are you going to manage, you know, in the event we get shut down again?
Okay. Great questions. Another question that I had too that I would want to add on top of what Nancy was talking about is, for those of you that are offering programs, what's enrollment like? I mean, do you have waiting list, or is, you know, your 10 people per camp enough, or you can't fill them, or what's going on with public enrollment and concerns?
If I can add, we have an instructor who does one of our programs. She does yoga, Pilates, she does a number, and she's been doing some virtual programming through this since March. And she sent out a survey and received 27 responses back, and it was less than a third that said, so what's that? 9 times 3 is 27, right?
Yeah.
So she had, I think it was about 9 saying they would come back indoors. The others were, they're not sure. They would do a virtual class, but there was only 9 out of the 27 that said they would feel comfortable to come back to the recreation center. That was for that class. We also have a preschool program, and we're waiting to hear back the responses from those parents.
Just to add to what Nancy said there, you know, we've seen a lot of that too. So our classes, our outdoor fitness classes are outdoors. We don't really bring any of them inside. And when we have attempted, because of rain or whatever, to bring a limited number of those people inside, many of them are not interested in taking an indoor group exercise class at this time. They want to do it outside where they're distanced in the parks. So we've noticed that's been a trend for group exercise, but our enrollment is actually pretty high. Our mind and body classes, the attendance, you know, we'll have 20 people in person, and then we cap it. We require reservation under 25 is our goal here in Allegheny County. So that's where we are. And then we'll have 20 people also attending it virtually. So we've actually had really great enrollment numbers for our fitness classes. Our demand for camp was also very high this summer. We did all in person for camp. We didn't do camp virtually at all. Our community, though, you know, they just voted on going back to school. 87% of the parents in that survey want their kids back in school 5 days a week. So I also think where our community stands on a lot of the current situation is they want to be more in person. So our number and enrollment seems to be reflecting that.
So Nancy, do you want to put your question out there again, please, as far as what you want to know from others?
Yeah, I think one was, moving forward, we're offering these programs. People are registering. How are we going to deal with this if we do get shut down again, or even go back to the yellow phase? And I think that's, what I've heard from last week. We're still living in this. What if? Where are we going with it? How's it going to evolve? So that would be my one. How are you dealing with, or going to deal with refunds or credits in the future? And what was my other? How are we dealing with this? We shut down again?
Yeah.
With these, it's just, does anybody have any ideas how you're going to roll back or not? Like I said earlier, that I had discussion, and maybe, it's really just on our residents. You want to come? We're here. This is how we're dealing with it. You're going to wear a mask, you're going to be 6 feet apart, and then just, run business as we've been in the past, but with these protocols. I mean, it's kind of eerie. You walk into our facilities now, you got the shields all over the place. You have the stay behind the line. You have this is a 6 foot distance. We're putting up a whole nother set of doors and making a whole nother desk. So, I'm sure other people are dealing with this, especially in the bigger community centers. It sounds like, Tyler, you are, you have everybody in there, and it's really a choice, but you're following those protocols.
Yeah, Nancy, I mean, that's where we are. You have, the way we looked at it from the very get-go, we have about 10,000 members. So where we stood was, if you want to return to our facility, we're going to do it in a very safe way. There's rules with masks. We had an entire vestibule lobby area that could probably seat between 50 to 75 people. We removed all lobby furniture, so people can't just loiter in the lobby. There's fitness equipment downstairs now, so that allowed us to space things out. Every decision we made was very tactful on how it will look, not only to the public, but it makes it very clear that you're there for a period of time for a reason, and then you're exiting. So our attendance is down in terms of daily facility usage. We used to see 700 to 800. Right now we're at about 300. And we have had a couple hundred people put their membership on hold, which we made as an option. We tried to push a 2 to 3 month hold and then kind of re-examine where we are, because we felt that if we have them cancel, we could possibly lose them forever. So our goal was to do the hold model. We're getting into September, which is when a lot of those holds will start to be up. So we're going to kind of discuss that. But we didn't charge people while they were away. The way we're exploring it with classes is, if we've had to cancel a class, we refund them in full. Our residents would riot if we did it any other way. So that's kind of where we stand. But we have had issues with refunding programs. For example, we did have an exposure at camp. It did cause us to shut camp down for a week. And we had to issue refunds. But because our daily reconciliation on our software was not bringing in the money we're used to seeing, it did take several days to issue those refunds, where it normally takes 1 to 2 business days. So we have dealt with some challenges there, but luckily our finance team is very supportive of our decisions not to charge people when we weren't open, and things of that nature.
And Tyler, you're you're in the Pittsburgh area, is that correct?
Yeah. Yep. Upper St. Clair.
Okay. Well, Nancy, I also like your observation that people are sort of self-selecting whether they're going to go to programs, and that's sort of keeping attendance down anyway, because people obviously have different comfort levels with the situation at hand, and have different feelings about what it all means and their susceptibility to the risk. And it seems to be that they do. I mean, I haven't been to my gym since February maybe, and I don't plan on going back for quite a while. And so I'm sort of self-selecting to stay away. And so that might answer one of your questions. But anyone else with refund policies and how you're working that out, or how you're going to go forward and offer programs?
This is Audrey from Campbell Borough. We've given anyone who's not comfortable has reached out to us. The borough has given full refunds. Seems like that's a bulk of our time these days, giving back money. Trying to run everything outside. We have a community room and a cabin facility that we rent out and hold things in, and we're not able to have anything in our buildings at this time. We're hoping to possibly open up in September, but nothing, no rentals, no wedding receptions. It's been tough. I feel bad for all the brides and grooms. We had to call and tell them that they couldn't use our facility, but all of them understood. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I'm looking at the chat, and there's several people are talking about the handling of disinfection of the equipment and cleaning of your facilities. Anybody have lessons learned or neat techniques, or what do you focus on when you do your cleaning? Who does it? How often? Let's have some sharing on that and see how we all are tackling that issue. Crickets. No one's doing any disinfecting or cleaning or anything like that, right?
On our end, oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Arnie.
For our stadium, which the residents and the tennis courts that the residents use, they have a swipe card system to get in. When we were in the yellow phase, we had a stadium manager there who was cleaning every hour and documenting that they were wiping down where people were entering and exiting and the touchable surfaces. But now that we're in the green phase, we have up signage telling people about what they need to do. We don't have somebody sitting there in the green phase because we're open from dawn to 10 p.m. But in the yellow phase, we were paying somebody to sit there. But as far as like our programs and camps that we're able to run, we have our instructors or camp counselors have things with them to wipe things down as needed, and hand sanitizer for the children to use, and it seems to be working so far.
We took the stance that cleanliness and facility cleanliness is everybody's job. So for us, every department has a cleaning schedule. So our fitness department, they have attendants who wipe down the equipment, and then when they finish that part of their cleaning schedule, they restarts. So it's a cyclical, they never stop cleaning. They're always moving the facility, and each department's service area specifically, so I oversee membership and guest relations. So my staff are always cleaning the desk. It's part of their daily routine task. But we also do ask our members to, participate in that effort in keeping our community safe. And that's the way we've been really advertising it, that while we do wipe down our equipment and we're a very clean facility, we also ask you to take, do your part in keeping, just showing mutual respect for our space.
Great. I can see a lot of you are texting, and another growing concern is what to do when schools start. Obviously, childcare is an issue for many parents, especially those who are essential, classified as essential workers, and with the unknown as far as a government assistance for those folks, that being unknown right now. Let's see. We're talking about soccer shots, a school type of program for working parents. Phil is, I guess, a place for parents to drop their kids off. Besides, Phil, you want to talk a little bit about that for the rest of the group, or anyone want to add to what he's doing? Laura, you answered him a little bit. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, so he asked, is anybody thinking of a program, for parents to drop their kids off? And it's exactly, what I had mentioned. And I'm currently working on it. I haven't put it out. We are working on a flyer to put out as a feeler for parents. So basically, I'm going to call it virtual enrichment. It's not teaching. We'll have moderators. Parents will have to provide, electronic device, for their kids. They'll come in. We have a multi-purpose room that's huge. I will set up tables. They're 8-foot tables, 2 at a table, on opposite ends. So, social distance, masks are required if they can't social distance. But the moderators will basically be there to help with a problem, answer questions. They're not necessarily there to teach them. We're in the Colonial School District, and I am going to be following their bell schedule. So they released they're on a hybrid schedule right now, 2 days in, 3 days out. But we'll be open for those 5 days. So, team A is in Monday and Wednesday, team B is in Tuesday and Thursday, and then everyone's virtual on Friday. I need a minimum of 10 on each schedule to run the program. That means on Friday, I could have 20 kids at the least. I'll have 2 moderators for that. If I have more, I'll hire another moderator. But I'm probably not going to go over 30 altogether on that Friday. It'll be kindergarten through 6th grade, but a minimum number of kindergartners will be accepted because of, childcare laws and everything like that. We see a need for this when parents are going back to work. I was in an emergency management meeting last week, and one of our employees is talking about how they're interviewing a retired teacher to come and help their kids. He has twins, because him and his wife have to work, and they're charging $50 an hour. I know that most people cannot afford that. So I'm trying to offer, just like any other program we run, trying to offer a service for our residents that makes sense, a safe place. We've been open for camp. We're going to follow those same protocols. And my whole administration is really on board with it, and everyone is pitching in to help me with this because they love the idea, and we're trying to make it work.
Lauren, are you guys state licensed already?
So we are not, which is why I would have to have, I have to be under the minimum that they require for state licensing.
Yeah, because where we are, at least, that we're literally what you're saying is exactly what we're thinking and the need we have. But the issue we're running into is that because we're not state licensed, the rule, at least the way we're interpreting it, so if you have anything on it, I'd really appreciate if you wouldn't mind sharing with the group. But the way I'm looking at it is if the kids have attended, if they're in school age care, other than the summer camp program, because it's under 90 days you can do, but I don't, unless I'm misinterpreting, it didn't seem like it was going to be legally optional for us to do because it would be considered care. So what were some, if you guys have any resource on that, I'd really appreciate it.
If I can get around that, you just mentioned the 90 days. So I'm doing it based on marking periods as a program. I'm thinking that that is a way to get around that. Let me know if you think otherwise. So it would be a 9-week program based on the Colonial School District marking period.
Gotcha.
I think you're on the right track, Lauren, from what I remember from my school days and the way the regulations are set up. Because we've done that with some pre-K programs also about how we schedule them. How you schedule them matters, so to say.
Right. Good to know.
Nikki or Dan, any word from the state? I know we had some contacts when we were doing the provisional hiring. Anything coming out from the state that you guys have seen with guidance on that for the fall? I mean, I know they had a great stuff for the summer, but.
The last I remember is they had moved, they have, boy, you know what, Tyler, I will get back to you because I don't want to say something that's not right. But I thought they had extended the time period for provisional hiring, and that was for all the background checks, not just one or two. So I believe that that's what happened, but I don't know if that was, like you said, a temporary measure or it was, more or less permanent, that extension.
It was for the remainder of this year, but then because they had an ongoing extension, but then they're going back and they're trying to push the legislation through for the following year. But right now it is just for the remainder of this calendar year.
So you do get the extensions.
And in our May 27th scoop, we had an update on that. Tyler, I can send that to you in just a second.
Thank you.
Good. Thanks for helping me out, guys. Where were we? So are other folks planning on doing, so Lauren, I'm assuming that these students will be there to basically take their online classes, and then you'll be offering activities in between, or, be the gym class, so to say, or how is that going to work?
Based on the hybrid schedule, let's say math is 9:30 to 10:15, and other, science, whatever it might be, 10:20 to 10:45, whatever it might be. And then there's a recess, and we'll give them a recess. We might take them outside in groups, of course, small groups. And then as far as lunch goes, I did think about bringing in a third party to run it, but I'm not going to now. We're going to do it in-house. So the moderators are my camp counselors, 2 of them. And one's an education major, and then one is in education. She's an aide and she's going for, her master's degree. And fortunately, I have her for, that time. So they've already been doing socially distanced games. So we're just going to take some of those ideas and incorporate them during their lunch period. So at least it gives them, something.
Sounds good. Are you near any college that has education majors in it? Any school?
I mean, we have a lot of colleges, in the area, but that's what I would be looking for as far as if I needed more moderators. We also, I just asked for an update that we have a before and after school program that's run by a preschool here. They are state licensed. And that room is state licensed, but we do not hold the license. But if they're not running anything anywhere else, and I'm assuming they're not, I just am getting an update from them. I might pick one of their, teachers as well if I need them. So.
Right. And, as most people know, every education major has to do like a 6-month teaching internship. And your spot might be ripe for people who are looking for those types of internships in the time of COVID, because they're going to be few and far between in the school districts.
Yeah, you're right about that. I wonder.
So that might be a good pool of potential employees or help for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's see. I'm looking at my questions. How about, I'm going down towards the bottom of my list here a little bit, but what are some lessons learned? I mean, for those of you that have been open, and I don't even know how many of you have been open. I assume a few of you, most of you, at least on a limited basis. What were some lessons learned? Like, what were some things like, maybe I should tell other people not to do what I did, or this worked really, really well, and I'd like to share it with others. Anybody have some lessons learned there?
And maybe you can tie that in with Phil's question there too about the masks. So what kind of success have people had about encouraging folks to wear masks so that you don't have as much pushback?
Mhm.
That's been the hardest part of my job here over the past 3 months is the mask compliance. So we, of course, have signage everywhere. You know, you have to have a mask to enter the building. You know, but at the end of the day, all they have to do is say, this helps me breathe. That's an exemption. And we can't do anything about that. And we have so many people doing that. And again, there's, you know, it kills me. We put out a rule at the state level and there's no enforcement of it. There's really no law to it. So it sets my part-time staff just to get destroyed every day, and that's been a really hard challenge for us, at least. So the compliance isn't great, to be honest with you, and we get it from both sides. We have people that are mad that these people aren't wearing masks, and then we have other people that are mad that they have to wear them. So we can't win.
Pertaining to wearing a mask.
Something like that.
Yeah. Thank you, Tyler. Nikki just reminded me, we had a webinar this morning on EEC regulations. And Nikki, do you want to take it?
Yeah, there was a specific question, and I'll make sure we send it out in our chat box follow-up. But one of the questions about the mask was, instead of saying wear masks, you ask them to wear a face covering. So if they say that I can't wear a mask because I have a disability, then you can't force them to wear a mask. But if you use the term face covering, then a face shield you can say is necessary because it's not preventing them from breathing. It's not going to hinder their breathing. However, it's still providing a layer of protection. So you can use the term face covering or face protection. He even went so far as to mention an example of someone who has oxygen. So it could be someone who has the oxygen, I don't know what the proper term is, but the oxygen with the two things that go up your nose. He said, you know, in a situation like that, you could ask them to wear an oxygen mask because then that adds that mask layer of protection. So there is a reasonable accommodation where instead of them wearing an actual mask like this, they could do a face shield or something else. So there is a little bit of flexibility there. Obviously, it's still touchy. I asked him if we could share the recording with people, and if we can, we'll make sure you all get the link because he had some great information.
State College Borough here where we are just instituted a mask requirement for all businesses in the area, you know, under penalty of fine and things like that just before the students arrive. So this is going to be fun to see how all this works out.
Dan, are students returning to campus at Penn State, or I haven't been keeping up with them?
Yes, they are. There's move-in week is in 2 weeks or 1 week. Next week, with freshmen coming in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and upperclassmen for the dorms anyway on Thursday through Saturday. And they're supposed to come in the dorms one at a time. They can't come in with their roommates. They have to call and get a time. Penn State has purchased like 4 million face masks to be distributed. There's social distancing. Almost all the large courses will be offered online exclusively, like, you know, freshman chemistry, freshman physics, all those 101 courses, so to say, will be done online. I think the university has its act together as much as can be expected for a large university. It's more about the, you know, just the town. You know, students take up half the town, and so we've been good here as far as social distancing because it's been easier with the lack of students in town, and we're just, you know, and then you have the certain Oh, well, everybody was young once, and you know how you feel when you're young. You're indestructible, and sometimes you don't heed the right advice. And so we're all just wondering how it's all going to play out. But so far, that and football are still on. Anyone else with what you do or lessons learned at your facility? We have some more feedback on the school day program, a part day school age program that operates for less than 90 consecutive days. From the date of program opens to the date the program closes. Yeah, you're gonna, from what I'm getting, Lauren, you're gonna have, and anyone else who's interested, you're gonna need to do your homework and really look at the regulations. Sometimes regulations can be interpreted two different ways, and you may have to get some professional help on that.
Well, and the biggest one that I did see in those exemptions too is if it's a drop-in program as opposed to one that people sign up for. So maybe that's potentially a way to get around things too. I know it's hard to schedule based on drop-ins, but that may be a potential answer.
Well, that 90-day exemption thing you threw out as well. I mean, that's why we get away with summer camp without it being licensed. I mean, that's the exact exemption that applies to summer camps typically.
Well, and I just want to mention that part of that, I know when we talked to the state, is they said part of that was the problem because so many park and rec agencies used that 90 days and then never got the clearances in hand. And that was their problem, is that there wasn't follow-up after the fact. And having run programs like that, I know there were times that I was like, well, we have a week left and wouldn't think about it. But they said that was one of their bigger hot button items, is that we didn't follow up with getting all the clearances.
Okay.
Hi, this is Nicole Kreitzman from North Fayette. I'm the one who keeps writing the chat box. So when we try to do the 90-day programs during the school year, the reason they said they shut us down was because school was in session. So like when school's not in session, which is how the summer camp programs operate, that was why they could operate within the 90-day window. But as I said, we just had to change our programs so that we had our after school program was limited to 3 days a week. And then any other programming we had was for a specific purpose. Like I said, we do sports on Tuesdays and then we do different enrichment programs on Thursdays.
So yeah, you're saying the focus could be different, and you have to wonder with schools being on this on and off schedule, like for the students who are coming, they won't be in session on those days. You know, I think the intent of it was so that the students aren't going to these other programs.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they count it as in session, like as it's during the school year, regardless of if they're in the buildings or not.
Yeah, I'm sure they
It
do.
also seems to be the length of the programming too, because some of the wording says if it operates for 2 hours or less, or for 3 or fewer days per week. And like you said, if it is for a single purpose, for like a sport or art or something like that too.
I'm sorry, can you send that link that you're on right now?
Yeah, I actually put it in the chat box earlier. So if you scroll up in there.
I kind of missed it, but I'll look.
That's from, it's from the Pennsylvania After School Youth Development Network.
Okay. So I'm looking at my sheet again, and I think we're at a time when, what are you guys planning for the future? What's it going to look like? Give us the answer so that we know what to help you with. Tell us what it's going to look like. Derek, you usually know, right?
Sure.
So what are your plans?
Over here.
Yeah.
Take it slow, quite honestly. We, we're trying to keep everything inexpensive, keep it short term, keep it simple, basically because we don't want to get involved in long-term commitments and have to refund a ton of money, quite honestly. We're going to an all in-house model.
Okay. Thank you. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Derek, but got to get some folks talking a little bit here.
Yeah, no problem.
I think it's Nancy. I think caution is the word. We got to be cautious here. We don't want to, like Derek just mentioned, I think he just mentioned something about costs. We don't want to overspend and overplan. I think we just really have to be cautious. It's kind of bleak, just going into our rec center. It's different, and it's not going to be as lively, not as many faces. So, I think we just have to, try to keep a balance for ourselves personally as well. We can't, we all park and rec people, we take care of everybody else. And I have this discussion with one of my managers, she's not sleeping at night because she worries, and you really got to protect yourself. So that would be my advice. Just try to maintain your own sanity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good advice, Nancy. Thank you. Let's see. Phil is asking, are most districts around the state going in virtual entirely or only some days? Most around here are only going entirely virtual. So are you, Derek, you're going to do a little of each, I assume, and I think Nancy, you said about the same thing, and Tyler, you were there too, right? With your, I think when you were talking about your yoga program, that she does it both ways. Anyone else on how you're going to do the fall as far as virtual versus in person?
We're trying to do a hybrid as well, where we'll have the cameras in the classroom and an instructor. We're still trying to work that out with some instructors because they feel they won't get to see everything because they're going to be taking care of the participants in the class. So we're still trying to work that out. So we will have in person, we'll continue with virtual, and now we're trying to figure out a hybrid. Well, I guess you call it hybrid, where your teacher's in the classroom with a small amount of participants and then still have people at home trying to, being able to participate as well.
That's the definition of it.
Okay, that's it then.
That's it. We were considering doing hybrid events here at PRPS for the fall, and we've taken a back burner on that, in that our annual meeting in the fall is going to be all virtual, just because we had people from all over the state that would want to attend, and we felt like one, it would be a hardship for a lot of people to ask a lot of people to travel, especially when the traveling budget may not be there, or you may be restricted, as many people in the state government are on their travel plans. So we decided to hold it all virtually. And also, we didn't want to bring people from all different parts of the state together and then have them get together and then all go back to their respective parts. We felt like we weren't being fair to everyone. So our fall annual meeting is going to be sort of a fall mini conference, all virtual. And we've even rejected the hybrid model just because we didn't want to bring people in there. So you'll be hearing more news about that. This is, you guys are like first to know almost. We just put this out the other day. So that's our plans for the fall, is we're going entirely virtual. Anyone else with their centers?
You know, Dan, it's just interesting how we have to pivot, and that seems to be the common theme for all of us right now. And you know, our big strategic plan, you know, over the past 3 or 4 years is we were going to have an expansion, and we were going to have more co-work spaces. So our lobby was going to be designed with the intent of residents being able to come in and work on collaborative projects together. We were talking about putting in an area like a smoothie, you know, like a market, like an open market. So all of our concepts were driven around the idea of bringing people into a space to collaborate. Where now we completely have had to pivot from that. And that's been a really unique adjustment, and getting all of our staff from a leadership perspective to understand that we're not where we were in March, and that might need to be a completely different 2 to 3 year plan. Not saying we'll never go back to thinking that way, but how do we meet people in this moment in a different way without always sticking to what we've traditionally done, which, and I think in this department in particular with Parks and Rec, I think we sometimes get pigeonholed in that sense. Not everybody, but you know, just in general.
Thank you. Anyone else on their plans or lack thereof for the fall and going forward?
I'm curious with folks, the announcement coming out with high school sports and things happening, what kind of changes do you foresee in needs for your facilities and things like that? Because the athletes are still going to want to practice. They're still going to want to, you know, perfect their sport, but then they're being told they can't. So what kind of usage issues do you foresee?
Was that a recommendation or was that an order? That's what we're trying to piece out as a team right now.
Yeah, so Tyler,
I took it as a recommendation in the wording.
he said recommendation, but he literally said it and then ended the conference immediately. So I'm guessing we'll find out more Monday. But honestly, the wording he used was congregate settings, and that just makes it seem like to me that he wants to shut everything down again.
But last week he made, you know, a statement that he wasn't going to shut schools down. So I don't understand what the difference.
I can't trust anything he said 2 weeks ago.
It's a roller coaster.
That is for sure, and it's been very stressful.
And that goes back to what Nancy was talking about. We have to take care of ourselves too. It's just everything changes, and there's no way to predict what 2 weeks from now is going to look like. So far, Pennsylvania seems to have managed the COVID thing better than a lot of other states, but who's to say what could happen in the next few days? And you know, I know we've been on these roundtables since when? March, early March, and almost every one of them comes around to the same point where you have to just keep thinking on your feet and keep going forward. And like you were saying, Derek, you got to be maybe keeping it close to home and as flexible as you can be is the strategy to be. And so that your losses are never that big, and you can provide some services for your constituents. Which brings me to a shameless plug. We have an upcoming webinar next week on the 18th, and it's called Leadership Pivot with Mary Kelly. It's a great webinar. She's a dynamite speaker about how to make your organization adjust using the acronym PIVOT, and being able to embrace the change and help your employees accept it. So just wanted to go there again.
If I can, then I'm going to make a plug for a PRPS activity. We know COVID has been on everyone's minds, and we wanted to do something that would be a little bit more enjoyable. And since we all missed the conference, we wanted to give you a social. So we are planning a virtual social next Thursday from 4:30 to 6:30. We will have games, including a trivia-like game, a game similar to Two Truths and a Lie, And we are working on securing a mixologist to do a beverage demonstration. So please keep an eye out for more information. Register, join us. It won't be any shop talk unless you choose it to be. It's planned to be enjoyable and fun for all.
Thanks, Nikki. That was,
And Dave, you have to supply your own drink ticket.
so we did a dry run of some of the games, and they were really quite fun. So I think it'll be a good time. It'll be a good learning experience for everybody, and really a chance to just be yourself without worrying about other things for maybe an hour or so. So please think about coming for that. Of course, let's see. Yeah, Derek, we need further clarification on Wolf's last minute conference statement. So maybe, there'll be more roundtables that we'll have scheduled, and we'll probably schedule another one of these in about 2 weeks or so, just to see how everybody's doing. And see how far we can get with our fall plans, because things will change. Anyone else have a last minute question for discussion, or a last minute something they want to share? Now is the time to do that. All right.